Hey everybody, I'm mApplinator from the Tamriel Downunder Team, and I'm going to tell you everything you need to know to get started with gear in Elder Scrolls Online. Now, armor in Elder Scrolls Online is categorized into three weights. We have light armor, medium armor, and heavy armor. So the different weights will have different resistance values, which reduces the damage you take, and they also give you specific buffs to your character based on the type of armor that you're wearing. So you can see on our skills menu that we have the light, medium, and heavy armor skill lines. Now each of these skill lines will have one active ability that you can only use if you are wearing 5 pieces of that particular armor type, as well as a number of passives that increase in potency the more pieces of that particular type of armor that you are wearing. So light armor favors magicka users. You will find the passives boost your magicka recovery, they reduce the cost of your magicka abilities and your magicka damage abilities, and your magicka based heals will be more powerful wearing light armor. Now, medium armor is for our stamina-based characters, so it will increase your stamina recovery, reduce the cost of your stamina abilities. It will also increase the power of your stamina damage abilities and reduce the cost of dodge roll. Now, heavy armor is for survivability, so that might be for tanking, or if you're playing on a solo character and you just want to increase your survivability a little bit more, then heavy armor might be the go for you. So heavy armor has the most resistance, and it also gives you benefits to your maximum health and the healing that you receive. Now, similarly, the weapons in Elder Scrolls Online are also sorted into categories. So we have our stamina weapons, which is our one-handed weapons, our two-handed weapons, we have bows as well under stamina, and then our magicka weapons, we have the destruction staves and the restoration staves. And then lastly, we also have shields. So the shields go in a weapon slot, but they are treated like armor. And exactly like our armor, our weapons are also given a dedicated skill line with abilities and passives. So we can see we have the two-handed skill line, the one-handed shield skill line. We have dual wield, we have bow, destruction staff, and restoration staff. Now each of these skill lines has 5 active abilities as well as an ultimate, and also a number of passives down the bottom that will make that weapon more effective. You will also notice that within those categories there are some further subcategories. So our one-handed weapons can be divided into daggers, swords, axes, and maces. Two-handed weapons, we have the same thing. We have the two-handed swords, two-handed axes, and two-handed maces. And destruction staves can also be divided into inferno staves, lightning staves, and frost staves. So each of those different subcategories has their own kind of unique pros and cons. The one-handed weapons can be paired with a shield for the one-handed shield skill line, or you can wield 2 one-handed weapons at the same time for dual wield. Now each weapon type is usually suited to a particular role. So if you look at the kinds of abilities that a weapon will give you, they're generally skewed to something specific. So for example, one-handed shield is very much for tanking. The first ability in this skill line is your taunt, and there are a number of other defensive and sort of debuff abilities in this skill line and the passives. Whereas, conversely, a bow might give you a great way to do some ranged damage on a stamina character, but it's not going to help you heal anybody. So for healing with a weapon, you're going to want to look at the restoration staff and the healing abilities and the passives that are related to the restoration staff. So make sure you choose a weapon that is appropriate for the role that you're performing. Gear in Elder Scrolls Online can be crafted. Crafting will allow you to create some gear sets that can only be obtained by crafting, and will also allow you to improve and change on gear that you loot in the game. Our weapons, armor, and jewelry are separated into 4 different crafting skill lines that again have their own passives. So if we have a look at these, our metal weapons and our metal armor, so our heavy armor is under blacksmithing. All of our light and medium armor is under clothing. We have woodworking, which covers our wooden weapons, so staves and bows, as well as our shields, and jewelry crafting allows us to create necklaces and rings. Now, if we have a look at a particular piece of gear, we can start to break the gear down into a number of different attributes that it has. So the very first thing you'll see at the top is the name of the item, and the color of that indicates the quality. Below that we have the level of the item. It's a level 50 item, and then we can see it has a max magicka enchantment, it has a divine's trait, and it is part of the perfected false gods devotion set. So the quality, the level, the enchantment, the trait, and the set are the pieces or the different layers that make up a piece of gear in Elder Scrolls Online. So let's go through quickly crafting some gear, and I'll try and explain each of those pieces in a little bit more detail. So if we walk over to our blacksmithing station here, and I want to create a cuirass for my character. So you can see the type of piece that we're going to create is our first option here, and then we have an option for material. Now this is what sets the item level. The higher the material, the higher the level of the item. We also have the style, which is a purely aesthetic difference. It doesn't make any difference to the stats of the gear. And the last thing down here is the trait. So as I scroll through these, you can see in the center there's a number of different bonuses that I can get from wearing this piece of gear. So say if we were building a tank chest piece, we might go with this sturdy trait, which is going to reduce the cost of our block by 2%. Now most items that drop in the game will have a trait by default, but if you want to craft your own traits, you will need to research them, which can be done by finding an item with the trait that you want to learn, and then visit the relevant crafting station and head to the research tab. There's a number of traits that can be researched. Now researching does take a lot of time, so if you do want to craft your own gear, I recommend getting started early, as each of these traits will take twice as long as the one before it. Now there are 5 different levels of quality in Elder Scrolls Online. So we have white, green, blue, purple, and gold. Items must be crafted at beginning at white and then improved through those levels all the way up to legendary. And as long as you have enough of the right materials, you can improve the item one level at a time all the way up to gold. You can do this for items you've crafted yourself or for items that you have gotten from somewhere else. Now bear in mind that gold mats in particular are very expensive, so I wouldn't recommend using those until you're at max level and ready to start committing to some gear. So enchanting glyphs are made from 3 different runes. We have our potency rune, which determines the level. We have an essence rune, which determines the effect. And then the last one determines the quality. So just like armor, glyphs also have a quality. The higher the quality, the more powerful it's going to be. So you can see in my inventory that these 2 health glyphs, one is white and gives 734 max health. The other one is gold and gives 954. So the quality of your glyph does in fact matter. Now the last thing I want to talk about is set bonuses. So many items in the game are part of what we call sets, and those sets will give your character bonuses if you're wearing multiple pieces of a matching set. So this item we looked at before, the False Gods Jerkin, is part of the Perfected False Gods Devotion set, and you can see there's a long list of bonuses that apply whether we have 2 items, 3 items, 4 items, or up to 5 items of the same set worn on our character. So many set bonuses will be 5 items. There are some that are 3 and some that are 2. There are also some special items in the game that we call monster sets, which are 2 item set bonuses, and they only drop in the headpiece and the shoulder piece. And there are also some special weapons which will give bonuses to specific abilities, and they only drop in the weapons that they buff the abilities for. So the Master's Shield benefits one of your one-handed shield abilities, and it will only drop in a one-handed shield. Now when it comes to actually wearing sets, you have a total of 12 slots on your character that you can use. So there are 7 armor slots, you can see over here on the left. There are 3 slots for jewelry, and we have 2 slots for weapons. You do have a front and a back bar, but you can only have one of these active at a time. So we have a total of 12 slots, which means you can mix and match more than one set bonus on your character at a time. So you might wear 2 5-piece sets and a 2-piece set, using all 12 of your slots and getting the very most out of those set bonuses for your character. And just as a quick note, for anyone that's worried about how their gear actually looks, Elder Scrolls Online actually has an entirely separate system for the aesthetically inclined, which allows you to create outfits that go completely over the top of your gear that you're wearing. So that allows you to wear something that is a little bit more suited to your character's sense of style. So if you find yourself an outfit station in the world, you can customize each armor slot purely based on the visual effect, and it has nothing to do with the gear or the stats that you're wearing underneath. So as you can see, gear and crafting in Elder Scrolls Online is a very complex system, and it has a lot of layers, but it's also really rewarding, and there's lots in it for players to get in and discover. And don't be afraid of making mistakes either when it comes to gear or crafting, especially at lower levels. Everything that you have, you're going to end up replacing anyway, so there's really nothing stopping you from jumping in and just having a go. I hope you feel a little bit more confident now about your gear and your character and how you might be able to get started with crafting. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in Tamriel.